what is, you like what is, don't you? You like what is. Why do you like what is so much? What is it about this manifested moment that is so intoxicatingly important to you? What is it about what is? Well, it's because you can decipher it so fully. All of your physical senses are observing it. So you're seeing it and hearing it and smelling it and tasting it and touching it. And you say, this is reality. And we say, it is. It is reality. It is a manifestation point. Because as you're being in your now, everything that you are perceiving through all of your senses, and let's talk about the sense that you hardly ever talk about, that is the most important sense of all, and that is your emotional sense. How you feel in the moment. What you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're smelling, what you're tasting, what you're touching, but what you're feeling in the moment. That's your manifestation point, isn't it? That's your manifestation point. The manifestation of the emotion within you is really big, isn't it? And we think that that's why your now has you so captivated. And we're not trying to talk you out of being captivated by your now. We're just trying to talk you into using your ability to focus so that as you are observing your now, you can hold yourself in alignment, or at least not so far out of alignment with the things that you have asked for that are already vibrationally gathered, that you have not yet come to the place of being able to translate in the fullness of your physical senses to the point that you call it reality or manifested. So we think what we're really talking about here today, are you with us so far? Mostly? Yeah, mostly you are. We think that what we're talking about is what manifestation really is. What is manifestation? What is it? Is it the new car that you just drove home, or the one that you hope to do soon? Is it the house on the beach? Is it the relationship that you've been yearning for? Is it the pile of money? Is it the empire you're trying to build? Is it the perfect business environment? What is a manifestation? And we notice that often when you think about manifestation, you're thinking about those things or those experiences, those pinnacle, peak kind of things, those life-changing things. Oh, I want to create, or I want to manifest this kind of lifestyle, or this kind of relationship, or this kind of work experience, or this kind of meaningful, life-fulfilling experience. And we say, good for you, good for you, good for you. But when we talk about manifestation, we're talking about right here, right now. What has manifested in your life, which means how do you feel about your money? How do you feel about your body? How do you feel about your relationships? How do you feel about your economy? How do you feel about your government? How do you feel about your world involvement? How do you feel about your ecology? How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? What is your perception of life? What is your manifested right here, right now perception of life? And the big question is, does it include, or better said, are you allowing it to include who you really are and what you really know and what you really think and what you really feel about all of that? Because most humans, the beasts are an exception because they're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. They are, you call it instinctually, they are instinctually focused, which means broad view, always focusing through them. But humans, we love you very much. Humans, we love you very much. Humans have managed to focus yourselves apart from the fullness of who you are, so that in many of your manifested moments, you're not allowing all that you have become. And that is so interesting to us, because all day, every day, as you've been sifting through the variety of life, it has caused you to create a vibrational version of you, which is where we stand, which is always the precursor to your manifested version. But you know what's required for your manifested version of you? Only vibrational compliance. Only emotional compliance. You only got to be in the mood for what you're asking for, and it must be. That's all it is. Your attitude, your mood must line up with what you want. And if you're so hung up on reality, and if you're letting reality, which sometimes includes the absence of the new car, the new lover, the old lover, the good body, or whatever it is you're reaching for, if you're facing reality and noticing the absence of something wanted, and that absence is now dictating your mood, your manifested attitude, your manifested worldview, your manifested personal view. If your view is dictated to you or influenced to you, and you are in that vibration, which equals the mood or the emotion, you are depriving yourself of that full view. All that means is you've pinched yourself off from something that really is, and you can't see it yet. We are eager to talk with you about whatever it is that you're wanting to talk about. We were visiting with Tracy and Esther last evening, and they were thinking about you coming, and we were thinking about you coming, and we were all eager about what you are bringing to this forum, because what you are, what you're living, what you're wanting is what summons that which is us. In other words, we don't come with a curriculum. Law of Attraction 101. We come in response to that which you are about. And it is exhilarating to feel that which you are about. Leading edge creators out here on the leading edge. Do you know that? Can you feel the leading edgeness of where you are? Can you feel the power of the desire that is within you to understand? And while often you think of it as a sort of conscious thing, in other words, I want to know things. I want to understand things. I want to make my life work. I want to be a deliberate creator. We want you to feel the leading edgeness is the best way of saying it, but we want you to feel how all that is focused out here with you. Physical beings have it backwards. You keep thinking that you're here figuring things out, and of course you are. But you think you're here figuring things out, jumping through hoops, learning how to get it right so that you can reemerge into non-physical and get good marks on the chart. Or so that you can reemerge into non-physical and then do whatever weird stuff they do in non-physical. And we want you to feel that what non-physical is doing is what you're doing right here, out here on the leading edge. In other words, all that is culminating, and culminating only means present tense evolution. It doesn't mean ending, and it certainly doesn't mean terminating. All that is focused here with you, out here on the leading edge. Do you get it? That the evolution of the species and the evolution of thought and the evolution of all that is happening out here. It's not happening somewhere else. It's happening out here. So when you are together with friends and having a wonderful time, and you are exhilarated and uplifting one another, feeling uplifted yourself, laughing, feeling tuned in, tapped in, turned on, that's not just you hanging out with your friends. That's the all that is part of you. That's your inner being. That's the source within you, focused in that moment. That's why you are so funny. That's why your thoughts are flowing so well. That's why you feel such exhilaration. That's why life feels so good in that moment. That's why you love that one and that one and that one and that one so much. When you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, that's when you are allowing all that you are to be present in this leading edge moment. And this is the thing that we most want you to hear. We want you to begin to understand that there is no separation between that which is non-physical, between that which is us and that which is you, other than the vibrational variance that you introduce as you are fussing and worrying about one thing and another. You're pretty good at that fussing and worrying part. And we certainly understand why. You came into this contrasting environment because you wanted to focus your desire into sharper focus. And when you focus your desire into sharper focus, source flows right with it. That's why desire feels so delicious. But when you doubt that which you are wanting, or when you get crossways of it in some way, then you pinch yourself off from the fullness of it, and that's when you feel a diminished experience. Do you know that you are vibrational beings mostly? Do you know that you are vibrational beings, period? Do you know that everything around you is an interpretation or a translation of vibration? Everything. You see it because it vibrates, and you translate the vibration of it. You hear it because it vibrates. You smell it because it vibrates. All of your senses are translating vibration. Your emotions translate vibration. Your emotions give you an in-the-moment reading of your vibrational makeup. But in order to understand that, you have to understand that there are two vantage points from which you offer vibration. What you're thinking right now has you offering a vibration. But who you really are and what you really think right now is offering a vibration. Do you get what we mean when we say who you really are? You're looking around. I thought this was it. I know I'm not that one. I know I'm not that one. I know I'm not that one. This is me. This must be who I really am. We say it's part of who you really are, and it's an extension of who you really are. It's the leading edge extension of who you really are, but who you really are remains source energy focused. Do you get that? Hard to get, we know. Because you're so used to translating who you really are by looking around. Yep, this is me. You want to know who you are by what you see. We want you to know who you are by what you feel. We want you to know who you are by how you feel. When you are having a moment of appreciation, you're who you really are. When you're frisky, you're who you really are. In those moments of insight and clarity, you're who you really are. Meaning you are offering no vibration through your choice of thought right here, right now, that is hindering the full allowing of who you really are, the source energy within you. Some call it God. We refer to it as your inner being. This inner being part of you flowing to you and through you. So if there is anything that we want to accomplish as we are chewing together today, it is the awareness that all that is flowing here, right here. And you feel it more than almost anyone on the planet, especially those who have been coming for a while, who have been listening to the recordings for a while. You get it. You can feel the fullness when we all get tuned in together, can't you? Esther has commented on many occasions that it is so much fun to feel Abraham out there on a new thought. She knows it's new. She knows she's never heard it before. She knows she's never understood it before. She knows it's never been this big before. She knows that it is happening in this moment as a leading edge, co-creating an experience with those like you who have gathered. And all of you are right there with it. Yahooing at the right moments, feeling exhilaration at the right moments. You're right there because it's a co-creative dance where we are all tuned in and we are on this leading edge together. And it's that thought, those moments that many of you recognized even as we were speaking about it here. Those are the moments that let you understand fully what we just said to you about leading edge and source all being right here. Religions have been trying to sort out what is non-physical for a very long time, and they have done a terrible job of it. A terrible job of it because they continue to speak of the separation. They continue to speak of loss in death when there couldn't be anything that is further from the truth. They continue to speak of separation. They continue to feel it as they put themselves as mere mortals. Imagine that. Mere lousy, crummy mortals. Mere mortals, mere dysfunctional. They don't usually use the word dysfunctional. They usually use words more like unworthy or sinning. Mere, crummy, rascally mortals who are here in order to suffer yourself into worthiness later. And we say, how does that work? How do you do that? And so we want you to feel the fullness of all that you are, not just the fullness of all that you are, the fullness of all that we are, and not just the fullness of all that we are, the fullness of all that is.